Excel skills are critical in college, in graduate school, and in the corporate world. In this lesson, we're going to review some Excel fundamentals, plus features that will be especially useful in finance. We're starting with the assumption that students have a basic knowledge of Excel, how to open it, what a worksheet is, what a cell is. If you do not feel your Excel skills are at a level where a brief review of specific finance-related features will be meaningful, I suggest access some beginner tutorials before proceeding. Depending on which version of Excel you're using, 2013, 16, or 16 on a Mac, the links on this slide offer a wide variety of video tutorials from beginner level to advanced. These links are posted separately with this lesson. In addition to the topics covered in this lesson, I strongly suggest you invest the time to watch the Microsoft tutorials. They're well done and well worth your time. Since Excel is designed basically to handle numeric data, how to enter that data is pretty fundamental. Entering numeric value in a cell can be accomplished in several ways. To enter a positive value of 450 in a cell, you can start with an equal sign, a plus sign, or just start with a number, 450. To enter a negative value, begin with a minus sign, followed by the numeric value, or begin with equals and minus, and then the value. To enter a dollar value, begin with a dollar sign. To enter a percentage, either begin or end with a percentage sign to display 10%. As noted, if you enter quote, equal 10%, unquote, Excel will display this percentage as a decimal, 0.1. Basic math in Excel uses 5 symbols: plus to add, minus to subtract, asterisk to multiply, slash to divide, and caret to raise to a power. Using the given data, add A1 plus A2, subtract A1 from A2, multiply A4 times 5, divide A2 by A3, square A3. There are 2 ways to add a column of values. The first and longest way is to use the plus sign and point to each of the cells in the column. In the cell where you want the total, begin with the equal sign. Point to the first cell in the list, its border will flash. Press the plus sign, and then point to the next cell in the column. Repeat down the column, and finish by pressing the Enter key. The shorter approach is to use Excel's built-in summation function, designated on the toolbar with a sigma. In the cell where you want the total, click on the sigma. If there is a column or row of values directly adjacent to that cell, Excel will default to that range. You can change the range by highlighting the range you do want totaled and press Enter. Excel contains a wide variety of built-in functions besides the summation function. Click on the FX on the formula bar or click on Formulas on the toolbar. Either approach will show categories of functions available. For our purposes, the financial and statistical functions will be the most used. Functions are also available for date and time formats, math and trig functions, and a variety of others. When a function is selected, a description is displayed with the data entry window. Let's look at one of the statistical functions as an example. In this example, we have a column of numbers and we want to find the average. In the cell where you want the average displayed, click on FX or Formulas. Select Statistical and then Average. Like the summation function, if there's a column or row of values directly adjacent to the results cell, Excel will default to that range. You can change the range by highlighting a different set of numbers. Press Enter, and the average will be displayed. We looked at order of operations in the algebra and statistics lesson. We need to review it again relative to Excel. Given the sample data on this slide, either of the first 2 choices for entering the equation will work correctly. The reason is that Excel follows the order of operations. So in the first example, Excel will multiply first. To be certain of the order, use parentheses. What is inside the parens is always calculated first. Look hard at the third example. This illustrates something that should never be done. Do not enter absolute numeric values in functions or formulas. Point to the cells containing the values. Entering absolute numbers locks in the equation. Pointing to the cells allows you to change a value, and all formulas using that value change with it. This video covers in more depth order of operations in Excel. It's only a little over 2 minutes long, and it's posted with the lesson. We've already looked at multiplying 2 values. In this example, we want to multiply the values in column A times the percentage in column B and place the results in column C. Start with the cursor in C1. Enter equal and point to A1. Asterisk, point to B1, Enter. 45 will display in C1. To copy this formula, place the cursor on C1. Right-click and select Copy. highlight C2 and C3 and press Enter. The formula from C1 will be copied to C2 and C3. The formula entered in C1 is A1 times B1 and is interpreted as multiply the value in the cell 2 to the left of where I am, C1, times the value in the cell 1 to the left. Then the formula is copied down column C. The formula is modified relative to the destination cell. So C2 reads A2 times B2. As you just saw in the previous example, when a formula is copied, the cell reference is entered or adjusted based on the destination cell. If our C1 formula were copied to F1, it would read D1 times E1. This is powerful and extremely useful. But sometimes you want to copy formulas and you do not want all or some of the cell references to change. In this slightly different example, we want to take 10% of each of the values in column A. We could enter the formulas one by one in column C, but there's an easier way. We can freeze the reference to the 10% in B1 and let the reference to A1 change with the destination location. To do this, use the F4 key. When entering the formula in C1, enter equal, point to A1, times, point to B1, press F4. B1 will change to $B, $1, which freezes the reference to column B, row 1. F4 is a toggle key. Both row and column are frozen when you have $2 signs. Row frozen, column not, B, $1. Column frozen, row not, $B1. Neither frozen, B1. There are occasions where what is placed in a cell may depend on another value or function. The if statement can handle this. The basic form is if then else. If A is true, then B, else C. In this example, cell A1 contains the value 450. In B1, the if statement reads equal if, left paren, A1 is equal to 450, comma 1, comma 0, close paren. If A1 is 450 is true, then B1 will be 1, else it'll be 0. Most of the topics in this lesson are covered in this video with examples with Excel on the screen. Time is about 5.5 minutes and it's posted with the lesson. This ends our brief review of the Excel methods needed in finance. The tutorial videos in this lesson are posted separately for viewing outside the lesson.